know that the two doses of the vaccine offer very limited protection, if any. The 3 doses with a booster, they offer reasonable protection against hospitalization and deaths. Against deaths, I think very good. And less protection against infection.
New Zealand's Global Vaccine Data Network analyzed data from 99 million people who received COVID-19 vaccines across 8 countries. Their findings show the vaccines are responsible for a slight increase in neurological, blood and heart-related disorders. The research says 3 doses of Pfizer, BioNTech and Moderna's mRNA vaccines could trigger myocarditis, a rare condition of heart inflammation. A 3rd dose of AstraZeneca vaccine increased the risk of another heart condition, pericarditis, 6.9-fold. The 1st and 4th dose of Moderna increased the risk 1.7-fold and 2.6-fold respectively. Those who took the AstraZeneca shots had a greater risk of developing a rare neurological disorder, Guillain-Barré syndrome. They also had a 3.2 times increased risk of getting blood clots. The Moderna vaccine increased the risk 3.8 times of the neurological disorder, acute disseminated encephalomyelitis. For AstraZeneca's vaccine users, there was a 2.2-fold increased risk of the disorder. The study also warned of several other disorders that need further investigation.
Side effects for the Moderna vaccine sound concerning. We looked. After the 2nd dose, at least 80% of participants experienced a systemic side effect. So, are these vaccines safe?
Well, the FDA, not being pressured, will look hard at that. The FDA is the gold standard of regulators, and their current guidance on this, if they stick with that, is very, very appropriate. And you know, the side effects were not super severe. That is, it didn't cause permanent health problems for the things there. Moderna did have to go with a fairly high dose, and so
recent report out of the UK about them adjusting completely their needs. This is really quite important. If you remember, that was the report that said there would be 500,000 deaths in the UK and 2.2 million deaths in the United States. They've adjusted that number in the UK to 20,000. So 500,000 to 20,000. We're looking into this in great detail to understand that adjustment.
I knew these vaccines were not going to protect against infection, and I think we overplayed the vaccines, and it made people then worry that it's not going to protect against severe disease and hospitalization.
Would you get it? Well, I think that's going to be an issue for all of us.
If and when the vaccine comes. And it's not likely to go through all the tests that needs to be and the trials that are needed to be done. When we finally do, God willing, get a vaccine, who's going to take the shot? Who's going to take the shot? You can be the first one to say, sign me up. They now say it's okay. And the question of whether it's real when it's there, that requires enormous transparency. You got to make all of it available to other experts across the nation so they can look and see. So there's consensus, this is a safe vaccine. If the president announced tomorrow we have a vaccine, would you take it? Only if it was completely transparent that other experts in the country could look at it. Only if we knew all of what went into it. If Donald Trump can't give answers and the administration can't give answers to these three questions, the American people should not have confidence.
But if Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
Times at the center of some of that angry debate. Elon Musk just came at you and attacked you. But the latest now, Dr. Fauci, is Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. He's now asking the Florida Supreme Court to greenlight an investigation into, and the way he put it, is any and all wrongdoing in Florida with respect to COVID-19 vaccines. What's your reaction to that?
I don't have a clue, Kate, what he's asking for. I mean, we have a vaccine that unequivocally is highly effective and safe and has saved literally millions of lives. The Commonwealth Fund has come out with a report just this past week that vaccinations that have been administered over this period of time, this last year and a half to 2 years, has saved 3.2 million lives, 18 million hospitalizations, and approximately $1 trillion in costs. So what's the problem with vaccine?
Hey, good morning, Mr. Albert Bourla. Your company, Pfizer... Excuse me, don't push me. Do not touch me.
Get that out of my face.
I'm a journalist, okay?
No, you're not.
James Laulino, Project Veritas reporter, standing outside the Conrad Hotel in Washington, D.C., where just a short while ago this morning, myself and one of my colleagues, one of our top undercover journalists, confronted Albert Bourla, CEO of Pfizer. He did not want to answer any of our questions about Dr. Jordan Walker.
Hey, good morning, Mr. Albert Bourla. Your company, Pfizer... Excuse me, don't push me. Mr. Albert Bourla, why did your company, Pfizer, avoid responding to multiple press inquiries from Project Veritas regarding Dr. Jordan Walker? Mr. Borla, your Pfizer employees are telling our journalists this information. Why not just be transparent? What do you have to hide? What's the big secret, Mr. Borla? What are you doing here today? Are you worried that you're going to be called before Congress to testify on whether or not Pfizer lied about testing on the COVID virus? Or are you confident your lobbyists have paid enough Pfizer money? Are you worried that you're going to be called before Congress to testify on whether or not Pfizer lied about testing on the COVID virus? Or are you confident your lobbyists have paid enough Pfizer money to elected officials to avoid oversight and scrutiny? Is that what you're doing here today, sir?
Yeah, how much money are you giving?
Do not touch me.
Keep that out of my face. I'm a journalist, okay? No, you're not.
Mr. Borla, would you like to sit down with an interview for Project Veritas? Who can we talk to? Do you talk to any journalists at all?
Mr. Borla, your bottom line, huh?
Good job, guys. Are you guys the elected officials that are helping him avoid oversight and scrutiny? Would anybody like to comment? What are you guys going to discuss? Do we like quiet meetings and closed doors? Just asking questions on behalf of the people.
Oh, we know. That's why we want to get in there and ask some questions.
Who can we talk to about setting up an interview with?
Good morning. Can I assist you?
Yeah, we're here to ask some questions of Mr. Borla on behalf of the people.
Okay, we're going to have to ask you to leave. This is a private event, and we can't have you here at the hotel.
Well, we have a room, so.
This is a private space. Security's not providing.
Oh, great. Cool. So we'll talk to them. What do you do?
Guys, I'm just here to ask some questions about how Mr. Borla can go without oversight and scrutiny and not answer one single question to a journalist. Lots of conversations behind closed doors, guys, with the Republican Governors Association. I noticed no media was invited to this meeting, sir. It would be a lot easier if he would just agree to sit down with us.
The real question is, as Mr. Borla meets with elected officials and lobbyists, is this how Pfizer skirts government oversight?
Often, when you get into the real world, the effectiveness of vaccines falls short of the original efficacy. That is not at all the case with the vaccines for COVID-19. So now we have two vaccines that are really quite effective. The mRNA vaccine, highly effective, extraordinarily efficacious, 94 to 95% for mild to moderate disease, and virtually 100% efficacious, because the real world effectiveness is even more impressive than the results of the clinical trial. We've got to make sure we clarify that with people. It has nothing to do whether or not it's effective. We know it's highly effective. Highly effective.
Then when you get a sequence of a virus and it looks like a relative of a known nasty pathogen, just like we did with SARS, we found other coronaviruses in bats, a whole host of them. Some of them looked very similar to SARS. So we sequenced the spike protein, the protein that attaches to cells. Then I didn't do this work, but my colleagues in China did the work. You create pseudoparticles, you insert the spike proteins from those viruses, see if they bind to human cells. And each step of this, you move closer and closer to this virus could really become pathogenic in people. So you narrow down the field, you reduce the cost, and you end up with a small number of viruses.
Viruses are. So if you want to find the next pandemic, you should do a lot of work in South America, where there are lots of bat species harboring lots of unknown viruses. You should also do a lot of work in Southeast Asia. So this becomes actually useful. So working with the USAID EPT PREDICT program and funding through NIAID to work on coronaviruses in China, we were able to test out this idea of predicting what the next emerging disease might be. So we've all heard of SARS. We know that SARS is carried by civets. Well, actually, the host of SARS-like viruses, the viruses that the SARS coronavirus emerged from, are bats. We discovered this a few years ago, published it. We found about 5 different viruses. You can see these ones in green. So we thought, okay, we've got an interesting set of viruses. It seems to be the origin of SARS. They're found in bats in China. It's a nice paper. We published it, I think, in Science. And, it was quite interesting. But then PREDICT came along, the USAID program, to discover new viruses in wildlife. And we worked in China to go out and do surveillance in other bat species and say, how many other SARS-like viruses are there? Is there something even closer to SARS? And sure enough, there was. And we've now found a very large diversity of SARS-like coronaviruses. Some are almost identical to SARS. In fact, there's one cave in Yunnan province that has every genetic element of the SARS coronavirus circulating in bats. And there are people out there who are hunting bats in that cave, eating them, people who live close by. And we're now doing surveillance of the people, and we've found using NIAID funding that actually there is potential of spillover into those people. We're starting to see some worrying signs in that part of the world. So here's a way to take the predictive side, go out and actually find evidence of a SARS-like virus spilling over into people, potentially.
Then we started looking, where did they come from? And we went out to southern China and did surveillance of bats across southern China. And we've now found, after 6 or 7 years of doing this, over 100 new SARS-related coronaviruses, very close to SARS. Some of them get into human cells in the lab. Some of them can cause SARS disease in humanized mouse models and are treatable with therapeutic monoclonals, and you can't vaccinate against them with the vaccine. So these are a clear and present danger. Yeah. We've even found people with antibodies in Yunnan to SARS-related coronaviruses, so there's human exposure. Right. We're now doing surveillance. We're just beginning another 5 years of work to look at cohorts in southern China to say, well, how frequent does this spillover happen, and is it associated with disease? Because I expect, just like Nipah in Bangladesh, there are dozens and dozens of small spillovers going on the planet at any one time, which we just never see.
Sure. Yeah, they never amplify. There are a few cases, and they're just absorbed in the illness, the overall illness of the population, right?
Now, you could say, so who cares? And that's one argument. But our strategy is any one of those could become pandemic. There's a lot of stochasticity in what happens then. Yeah. So if we look at all of them, understand patterns, try and reduce the number of spillover events, we've got,
But if you're saying these are diverse coronaviruses and you can't vaccinate against them, there are no antivirals, what do we do?
Well, so I think that coronaviruses are pretty good. I mean, you're a virologist, you know all this stuff, but you can manipulate them in the lab pretty easily. It's just spike protein drives a lot of what happens with the coronavirus, zoonotic risk. So you can get the sequence, you can build the protein, and we work with Ralph Barrick at UNC to do this. Insert it into a backbone of another virus, and do some work in the lab. So you can get more predictive when you find a sequence. You've got this diversity. Now, the logical progression for vaccines is if you're going to develop a vaccine for SARS, people are going to use pandemic SARS as
sure.
But let's try and insert some of these other related and get a better vaccine.
And I guess also knowledge of what's there. If you see something emerging, it give it a head start on making a vaccine or a therapeutic.
That's true, and better knowledge of where they are as well, so that you can put your money into these clinics that matter.